Yo, what's up, everybody? I am shooting live from Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I am still here. My name is Christopher Chu, coach and founder of the Hero's Journey Experience, which is a 12-day ayahuasca and San Pedro retreat for men held in Ecuador and Peru, where we empower guys to live happier, healthier lives through healing, self-awareness, and freedom. And our first retreat is the 15th to 26th. We have 6 guys signed up and just 2 spots left. So if you're interested, please send me a DM. And also, last thing, hit the subscribe, follow button. That way you'll be notified of future broadcasts. So today, I'm going to talk about some cool topics. These are things that have been popping up in mainstream, and it's stuff that I help my clients with. And the birds are super loud today. So what I want you guys to get out of this, especially the men, is how to deal with tough emotions, things like fear, anger, sadness, grief, all these different things. Yo, what's up, Jason? Hey, Brent. These are things that you can call it emotional intelligence, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, things that I've learned and picked up throughout the years and things that I'm coaching guys on. So I want you to really walk away with actual tips and insights that I'll share with you, and I'll even talk about some personal stuff I've actually been going through last month. So the topic of masculinity, this has been a real big mainstream topic. What's up, Brent? Lewis Howes, one of my favorite podcasters, he wrote a book called The Mask of Masculinity. I read about a third of it. Definitely recommend that to other guys who want to go deeper. Also, there is a documentary on Netflix called, what's up, Michael? Hey, Jamie. There's a documentary on Netflix called The Mask We Live In, and I saw that about 2 years ago. And that was a really eye-opener movie about masculinity and boys in America and where this toxic culture and stereotypes, where they come from. So, Jeremy, my brother, what's up, man? Good to see some MKP guys on here. So, the topic of masculinity, this has been a really big topic for me personally since when I left 5 years ago from the U.S. As I was healing and recreating my own identity of what a man is, that's what I had to study. It's like there's no school for this. We don't learn it, and that's kind of what I want to talk about first. Is the question I started is, do real men cry? And some people are like, no. They'll say a derogatory term and men don't cry. And that's one way of looking at it. My personal opinion is like, fuck yeah, I cry all the time. So yeah, that's my opinion. But I didn't always have that belief. So the thing is, where do people get this belief that men don't cry? This toxic belief. Where does that come from? And I think there's a couple of different sources of where this problem stems from. And I think one thing is you look at the mainstream media. We have people in power who are role models, celebrities and athletes who aren't always the healthiest people to be looking up to, and they sometimes put out messages which are not healthy. Also, if we're looking at role models, growing up, who do we look at? We look at mothers and fathers, and if we didn't have a strong father figure in our life to show us how to deal with emotions or guide us through that, then we're not going to learn. And if we're not learning from our fathers, we then follow the influence by friends, by people on TV, other influencers. And then I think another big reason why we have this issue of immature masculinity is because we've lost initiations and rites of passages. Like I said in previous videos, if you look at old indigenous civilizations and cultures, they had a process where you're bringing a young boy and you're bringing him to manhood. And that's the thing. What is a man? A man is not physically the exterior body. It's not just physical strength. Going from boy to manhood, that means also figuring out what's up here and what's in here. Actually having mature emotional intelligence. That's a real big part of growing into a man. You can look like the biggest jack guy, but if your stuff in here internally is not in alignment or fully matured, then you're still in a boy psychology. So that's where I think a lot of these stereotypes about being a man stem from. There's a whole lot of stuff out there. I got to try to keep this video short today. I want to try to keep it 15, 20 minutes, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that. But I would say start checking out those books, The Mask We Live In by Lewis Howes, and also The Mask We Live In on Netflix. Let me see, make sure I'm hitting all the points. So yeah, and this is something that I've been helping guys with in my coaching practice. It's guys don't know how to open up or feel or deal with these heavy emotions. that's a big problem. Why is that a problem? Because if you're taught to just bottle up emotions and just push them down, that's not a healthy way of dealing with emotions. And when you're pushing things down, like such as with alcohol or cocaine or escapism through pornography, eating, shopping, when you're pushing all these heavy things inside deeper and deeper, what that happens is like a pressure cooker, and eventually, boom, that shit's gonna explode. And that's what happened to me. My body gave out because when I was back in New York, I was pushing all these heavy emotions with sadness and anger and grief and loneliness and isolation. I was really ignoring those emotions and just being like, I won't deal with them. I'll just ignore them. And eventually it came to bite me on my ass by having a collapsed lung. And that's kind of the way guys deal with it. They shut down internally and they don't have a support network. So that's a problem. If you don't deal with these emotions, they will come back to haunt you, and they'll manifest in physical form. It'll manifest in relationships. It'll manifest in your business, in your health, and everything. So that's why I'm really big into pushing, mental health through emotional health and helping guys with that. So, how do I deal with sadness? That's I guess I'll go there next. What are the things how are the things that I've been helping my clients? And I think for guys, we don't, like I said, we're not taught how to deal with emotions. The thing is, for me, I'll start there. I didn't know how to feel emotions because I was so used to pushing them down and ignoring them. I became almost numb to emotions. So that's the first thing. It's first acknowledging and trying to feel your emotions, because you can't if you don't know what's there, then you don't know how to figure it out. So that's the first step. I would say, at least for me, was kind of getting in touch with how I'm feeling. And one way I've done that is closing my eyes and then breathing and trying to feel where in my body I'm feeling that emotion. And that's a good starting point. Also, guys, we don't know how to voice or identify emotions. So there's a good thing called nonviolent communication. I'll post that after this in the comments. And it gives a whole list. The four main feelings are sad, mad, glad, and sad, mad. Sorry, hold on a sec. My notes. Mad, glad, sad, fear, and guilt. And those are like the four or five main feelings that we go through in the human experience. But the thing is, those are kind of like the general feelings. Within those, you have like sub-flavors, like you could be sad, but it could be like a grief, or it could be like heavy depression. There's a range, there's a spectrum of emotions. Same with anger. You could be like irritated, or you could be raging, so I'll post that. That's a good way for guys to, just start getting to learn what feelings are, the language of feelings. Because I didn't know how to identify the feelings. So that's the first starting point. The thing is, next, you actually want to sit with the feelings and be with it. Like you said, just sit, close your eyes, and try and identify the emotion or feeling that you're going through. And that's usually in the body. And the thing is, if you don't, and that's another key thing. If when I'm sad or whatever, I'll usually manifest my emotion or feelings into my body. Like I'll start breaking out. I have rashes. I've had cysts before show up on my body. So that's what happens if you ignore the emotion or feeling. It comes out in physical form, and it's not really healthy. So that's how you deal with emotions. And also another thing is journaling. I journal a lot every morning, especially if I'm going through some hard stuff. So those are really good ways to deal with emotions. And then the third thing is talking about them. Talking to friends, to family, people who can just hold the space, who can just hear. Even if someone's not going to give you advice, just talking about the problem or the feelings or emotion that you're going through, that can be it can get all this weight off your chest, as opposed to like shutting down and holding this thing by yourself. So what's up, Mike? So I think that's really important for guys, is to find a support network. And that's why I think it's important to go to men's support groups. Find that outlet where you can talk. Of course, if you have a partner or girlfriend, that's fine. But I think for guys, it's also important to not just have your wife or girlfriend or partner to lean on, that you also have a set of other men to talk with. Because guys, we're different from women. And, you know, your wife or partner might know you on a deep level, but it'll be hard for certain things. She's not a guy, so inherently she won't be able to understand. So that's why I really encourage guys to have like really solid best friends that they can talk to, or a support group, or a coach, or a mentor. Someone that you can really go deep, not just be like, oh, let's just go to the bar and watch a sports game. Like, that's not going to cut it for you. That's kind of shallow. So for guys, if you're dealing with some heavy emotional stuff, you need to go deep, and you need to find the proper outlet and the proper people that can support you. So those are different ways that you can deal with these heavy emotions, and sit with the emotions. You know, if you're gonna cry. If you want to scream and yell, go do that. Go to an empty parking lot. I've done that and just yelled. But it's really important to just sit with it and not try and run from these emotions and distract yourself or numb yourself, because that's not part of the healing process. So I'll talk about when the last time I cried. I'll share with you how I dealt with that and what the tools I used. So about a month ago, actually, like the first week I got here in Mexico, I was actually going through a breakup. You know, back in Thailand last year in Phuket, I met this gorgeous woman from Switzerland, Sandy. And we met at a yoga class, and this became a really intense relationship. And, you know, we moved in right away pretty much. And then when I went from Phuket to Chiang Mai, she traveled with me and stayed with me for the 2 months. And yeah, it was a really intimate, fast, intensive, intimate experience, and I haven't had that with a woman in so long. And the reason why I love that is because we're so open and vulnerable and authentic in our communications and our desires, our expectations. And she was, you know, she was also 40, and so she was very mature and she's very balanced. So we were able to really have tough conversations and go deep and just be really honest about things. And we were able to do it in a way that was civil and compassionate and understanding. So, you know, it was a really beautiful relationship. And our plan was to go long distance. You know, she's still in Thailand. And I was like, listen, I got to move to South America for the next 8 months. So the plan was to do the long distance thing. And so we were doing that for like 2 months. And, you know, right when I got to Mexico, we had that tough conversation. And she was like, listen, I can't do this anymore. I need you to physically be here. Or we can't be in this relationship anymore. And for me, I was just like, I was heartbroken. It was like the wind had just got sucked out, and I was sad. And the thing is, like, I was here in beautiful Mexico. I was in Tulum that weekend, and it's like, here I am in this beautiful place. It's paradise. It's sunny out, but yet I still have this heavy, sad emotion. Hola, listo, gracias. Sorry, that was my water guy. So yeah, I was really sad and heartbroken about this, that this chapter of my life was over. And the thing is, you know, since then we've actually kept in contact. We still talk every day. She's still one of my best friends. So we still kept that connection. It's just we've pivoted that relationship into a different direction. So anyways, I was really sad and heartbroken about that, about, you know, our relationship and moving on. So like I said, even though I was in a beautiful place like Mexico, it was hard for me to be present. And it was hard for me to enjoy being here. And that's when I was like, you know what? I need to go process this sadness and grief. And it was like a week, maybe even 2 weeks of me like dealing with this heavy stuff. And finally I was able to, what I did was, you know, when I closed my eyes, I was able to feel the sadness right here. So that's the thing, guys, when you're dealing with emotion, close your eyes, try and find out where the emotion is. And for me, when I have sadness, it was right here in the heart center. And, you know, you can even try identifying what the color is. And for me, it's like a black or blue. So that's where I identify my sadness. And I just sat there with it. I did meditation. I just sat there. And then I was able to actually cry. I was actually able to cry for like a whole weekend. And that's when I released a lot of that heaviness. And yeah, that felt really good. And then also, like I said, I did a lot of journaling as to like why I was sad. What was it that was missing about her? What was it about that I'm sad about? So journaling helped a lot. And then I even talked to my good friends, you know, my one friend, Paul Diaz. Shout out to you, Paul. He's one of my good friends. And we met in Chiang Mai and we called. I talked to him and we hashed things out. And he just kind of like listened to me and stuff like that. So it was good to have another brother listen and just guide me through that. Just hold space, you know, even if someone's just like I said, just talking about it. So for me, by me crying and releasing that felt so much good, so much better. And I remember that Monday after like 3 days of crying, I was able to be more present. I was able to be more relaxed and more just enjoy life. And I had released a lot of that stuff. And this is a weird thing. It's like, because the last week before that, I was so preoccupied with other stuff from that situation, I couldn't focus on my business or the coaching or the retreat stuff. So after I went through like that grieving process, that new week, I then was able to sign 2 new guys for the retreat. And I credit that by clearing out the old emotions that was taking up mental space in this reality. By me taking care of that and handling it, I then created an open space where I could then focus on my business and creating the retreat and devoting time and energy to that. So that's the thing. When you deal with emotions and deal with them, in the present, as opposed to, running away from them, you then create space for new possibilities. And that's when your health can get better, your business opportunities can come better, and your relationship can go deeper. What's up, Lisa? Thank you. Sending love to you also as well. And that's the thing, like dealing with emotions, it creates space for new possibilities in your life. And that's a big thing. So that's one of the benefits. So that's why I really want you guys to learn about this stuff. And then also, the other thing about dealing with emotions, another benefit is your relationships go deeper. They're not so surface level. Because I've become so comfortable dealing with my emotions, expressing them, sharing them with people, that actually brings me closer to people. When I used to not show emotion or any of that, I used to feel weird. And it was like, if anyone was crying or going through some heavy emotion, I would be like, oh my God, what the fuck? Now I actually feel okay being around heavy emotions, and I can accept my own. And that's the thing. When you start getting better with emotional intelligence, having self-awareness, and dealing with your own emotions, that allows you more self-expression to share these things with other people, and that then causes closer connections, because people see like, oh my God, this person has the same problems as me, has the same feelings. I now feel closer with that person, as opposed to like when you have the stoic mask of, I don't show emotion, I'm just a tough guy, I'm a badass. Like that puts up a wall between you and other people. So as men, we need connections. As humans, we need connections. And a really good way of going deeper and opening up and having more improved connections is by going through emotional intelligence and just sitting with your own emotions. So that's it for today. I just want to make sure I touched on everything. Yeah, there's so much I could talk about for emotions and masculinity, but it's something that I really enjoy. I can do future videos about this. There's also stuff I go deeper with my coaching clients. And like I said, I'll share one story. It was in Bali, I brought one client to the breathwork meditation, and afterwards he was able to cry. And this guy had not cried in probably years. And I think that's the thing. A lot of guys, it's like, listen, when was the last time you cried? Some guys can't think about that. And man, there's so many benefits to crying. Like your cortisol levels, go down. Your pressure, your blood pressure goes down. So it's like crying is like a way to release. And my coach also said, it's the body's way of processing all these emotions and stimuli, and that's constantly been bombarding us. So when you're crying, your body's able to process the emotions and move on, and then you can go on to other things. So there's so many benefits to crying and being in touch with your emotions, as opposed to stuffing them and being them and just like, nah, this is too much for me. Thank you so much, Raquel. Much love to you. And yeah, just back to that story of my client in Bali, after we helped him get through these emotions, his business was able to flourish. He was able to sign a 5K client. His relationship with his parents improved. So that's the thing. I really want to help guys crack open, because this shell that we keep around our hearts, it's not healthy. And all these stereotypes that we have from wherever, of being the tough guy, not showing emotion, that's really unhealthy, and it leads to a lot of unhealthy habits. And our society is suffering as a result of that. We have so much with isolation and disconnection and lack of empathy and lack of understanding. Look at all the stuff that goes on the news with all the violence. If you look at it, it's a lack of communication and a lack of people having understanding and empathy. And that's why I really feel strong about, these topics and changing the stereotypes and giving guys the proper tools. Also, check out Mankind Project. Like I said, that's another organization that's global, international. If you want to go deeper into this, into masculinity, how to have the proper tools to communicate, that's a really good outlet if you can't attend one of my retreats. So definitely check out Mankind Project. Yeah, there's a lot I could talk about. I'm going to keep this to 20 minutes because, yeah, I want to be respectful of your time. So hopefully you guys got some value out of that. Let me know what else I can share with you, other tips surrounding this stuff. I enjoy talking about this. Will be teaching in Ecuador at my retreats. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I will talk to you guys later next week. Much love to you guys. Bye.